Kia Orana, let us talk about confidence, because this is one of the promises of the remix program. Okay, to have the ability to be confident in any situation, no matter how challenging. Now, that may seem like a big promise, but it is possible. When I think about the one teaching that I will go to immediately when someone is going through the shit and they need a lifeboat, a life raft, okay, it is this one, right? So as a coach, I'll sit there and I'll listen to people and, kind of be able to understand and assess like how extreme their situation is. And if if we need some courage, if we need just plain old courage in a life raft, this is the conversation, this is the chat that I'm having, right? And it's the code to being confident, no matter how challenging the situation is to understand and like develop this understanding that we have the ability to handle anything that is brought our way. Anything. Now there are more things to that and how we handle, right? How we handle a situation. But just to give you a glimpse into what I mean by this, the codes to being confident, no matter how challenging the situation, is about getting strategic with our thinking. Think about when we're in a challenging situation, when we're in the shit, when we just feel so fearful, worried about a situation, we don't know where to begin, all of this. Just think about a time when you've been there, right? It just feels like the end is like, oh, to the finish line is like up Mount Everest. That's what it feels like. What I'm going to be teaching in the remix program is how to be more strategic than, oh fuck, look at Mount Everest. We gotta be more focused, more, you know, onto it, more strategic with our thinking when we are in a challenge. This is no time to, because yeah, no shit, Mount Everest will be difficult. However, getting from here to there is not difficult, and there to there, and there to there. We've got to break this stuff down. We've got to be strategic, and this is the kind of thing that I'm wanting to share and teach in the remix. How do we reframe these big old challenges? How do we break them down? You know what I mean? So that we can handle them. Sure, I might not be able to handle walking up Mount Everest, but maybe I can handle working this far, and then this far, and then this far. Yep, I can do that, right? So it's about reframing how we approach challenges. And so this promise, to have the ability, to have the understanding, to have the codes, to have the knowing, the knowledge, the tools to be confident, no matter how challenging the situation, that's what we're going to be looking at. That's what you're going to be learning in the remix. Now, just a little story, just to keep with that theme of storytelling. In January of, yep, 2025, actually. Yes, at the beginning of this year. Really? No, maybe not. Sometime. Dates are not with me right now. It's quite late. But anyways, 2024, I reckon we're going to go with that. December, I got a letter from Vic Roads. December, I had lost, was going to lose my license and all my vehicle registrations, all this stuff. And then I found out why. And it was because from another lifetime ago, I had unpaid fines from being in a relationship and that car being in his possession. And, the government was coming to collect. So when I found out the balance, it was $72,000. And, they're like, oh, how would you like to pay that? Yeah, fucking do you accept, Imaginary Express, like. I was like, whoa. So that shock, that fear, that that was Mount Everest. And I cried my tears over the Mount Everest moment. And then I got into, the zone. What is my next first step? Lawyer. Help. I need help. I need guidance through the situation. Like, I need support. So that was my next step. Then once I had that, what was our next step? And what was our next step? And by the time, what's my next step? What's my breaking it all the way down helped me not helped me to stay focused and you know instead of going I was able just to focus on the next step in front of me. And you know 3 months later I'd bought an electric bike, right? And to get to all my little appointments and do what I needed to do because I couldn't drive. And I was getting exercise. It was a good time. And 3 months later, the balance was completely wiped. I had been successful in my case, and yeah, it was a good outcome. The other part to this process, which is why I mentioned like the promises that you will have the codes, you will have the knowing to be confident no matter how challenging the situation, is that there are ways in which we need to think, right? There are ways where we need to set up for success. That's why I mentioned we need to be strategic when it comes to our thinking, right? And so yeah, I had to be real with the options that could have occurred and to spend time sitting with each of those options. Option one, best case, it all is removed. Middle case, it's like I have to pay some. Worst case is I have to pay it all, right? And so taking the time to be with each of those scenarios, right, it allowed me not to be attached to one. Now, this level of thinking, this type of thinking, okay, this is like, it's quite simple. It just requires choice. And so we have choice when we have space in our inner world. If we are all clogged up with all this emotion and unresolved this and that, and we're not wanting to turn and face this and that, if all our space is like taken up, we have less room to choose and to focus and be strategic. So the remix is a space where I'm sharing and I'm teaching how to clear up our space, how to take care of our space and be organized within, right? So yeah, that is I'm looking forward to, oh man, I'm looking forward to connecting with the people who come through these teachings, um, and take these home because yeah, these kinds of tools and abilities and this work itself, this is what changes trajectories of people's paths because they've got more space in their inner world. And I'm beyond excited, looking forward to connecting with the people who are going to come through this work. So I want to leave that one there. Yeah, and I'll see you in there. Kia ora.